Okay, boys. So
Oh, jeez.
I have a Taste It, and per how the last Taste It went, I made sure to preface that this is a non-offensive. This is like I'm curious.
I feel like the last Taste It went remarkably well.
What was the last Taste It?
Durian.
No, that was the offensive one.
That was
feel
so
It
offensive.
still went well.
I feel like I had to give Austin some like a trigger warning that like, hey, this is what's going on. But I have Dr. Pepper flavored Jack Link's beef jerky. I saw this,
Interesting.
right. I saw this while grocery shopping with my grandmother, and I was like, I have to try that.
Why are they insisting on Dr. Pepper going in things these days?
I don't know. Oh,
I feel like on meat it could be good because I've had Dr. Pepper baked beans like they have at the Walmart, and it's actually pretty good.
My thing is, like, I saw a Dr. Pepper margarita today on TikTok,
Pass.
right.
and I was like, okay, what you got? What's it feel like?
Okay, so the smell, I don't know how to describe this smell. 'Cause
Beef
it's-
jerky never smells good anyway.
That's true.
Right. And
it smells like sweaty meat feet.
it feels like
Yeah.
it's a slightly oilier, like, piece of jerky. Here, I got a pretty big piece, so I think we should just break this.
I don't want that piece. You've been breathing your nose air
Oh my
all
god,
over it.
okay, here.
Thank you.
Here, oh my good.
Yeah, what if you got some like bug on there?
Oh gosh, I should have taken a smaller piece.
Yeah.
I might like it. You never know.
Right. This is a taste where I'm like, I wanted to try, I want to experiment. I don't want to eat this alone.
Jerky never smells good.
No.
I don't know. I like it.
It
So
kind of smells like.
you can't place it.
It kind of smells like.
He's gonna be stuck.
It kind of smells like.
Tony, break out of it. You'll be
Come on.
fine.
It kind of smells like an old man's diaper.
Oh god. Okay, so I want to try this.
All right, let's
so
eat it.
3, 2, 1.
It's kind of cherry-y.
I'm not hating the flavor, but the consistency is like gummy bear jerky.
It's like candy jerky.
I mean, that's Jack Link's is on the. Jack Link's is on the softer side until you get that really hard piece, which I just found.
I don't know if it's because of the gardening we did before coming in here, but I'm not really getting any intense flavor off of it.
I get no Dr. Pepper at all.
No, I got some Dr. Pepper, but it's kind of cherry-like.
Yeah,
It's the
there's like
cherry
that-
portion of the 47 flavors that's in
That
Dr.
very
Pepper.
back end, a little bit of cherry, but it's not like this. It's like beef jerky. It's just like original beef jerky.
Gosh, my
Yeah,
mouth
it's just
smells
like, it's
so
just a
bad.
sweeter beef jerky.
So that was a thing. I don't know how I feel about that.
Okay, honestly, if I had to recommend
I
somebody
don't
get
hate
some
it.
jerky, and they had only Dr. Pepper jerky that you could purchase, and your option was purchase that Dr. Pepper jerky or have no jerky, you can purchase that Dr. Pepper jerky.
It's like a 4 out of 10. Like I won't buy it again unless I have to, but I wouldn't be upset about having to get it.
Yeah, the only thing that I'm upset about is, even though we have a bigger space to record in, we're still attached to the same earphones. And Tiny is still chewing loudly into it. Quit it! Stop doing it! Oh, I hate it. Because all I want to do is chew loudly.
Hey, if it helps, I have to listen to it like 4 times.
Yeah, we're going to be picking jerky bits out of our teeth all episode. You're welcome.
I hate that. Hi, everybody. I'm Austin Shazam. I've got this meat in my teeth. Pfeiffer.
I'm Otto. I also have the large piece right on my right side, and it's kind of annoying. Cogdale.
I'm Austin Tiny, Zent, and I just got this one.
And we are Nerd It to the
No,
Grapevine,
didn't
the podcast where 3 best friends gather weekly to talk about our favorite parts of past, present, and future nerd culture. And we are of an age.
Well, also,
Hold on, we
a
first
big-
have to address the changes.
We're coming to you, not live,
I forgot.
from the brand new Grape Sack 3.4.0.
0.8, 0.6.
3.4.128765396. 6 to 8.
Right. We upgraded from the room that we were in at our strip mall studio that was the code garage to a spare bedroom status. And let me tell you, it's nice.
Yeah, I feel like Nathaniel in the art department did very well. You know, Brian was also a major contributor.
Right. Jose did a fantastic job on the roofing
Yeah.
in here.
I mean,
The vaulted ceilings are really nice.
Yeah, there's going to be some more stuff, but we're like, we just need it functional. And Brian and Nathaniel's like, we got this.
Yeah, and if you've ever put together the kind of soundproofing that's on these walls in here, you know that you can attach them to things with push pins, and a few pieces is not that big of a deal. In the room so far right now, I've got about 100 pieces. So 100 pieces plus multiple push pins, you think it isn't going to be too bad. It'll just slide right in like butter. Sometimes you find studs, and you don't know you found studs until you're already pushing in.
And also when you've been doing it all day.
Yeah.
That sounded a little gas stationy.
Well, I mean, the good thing is we that's why we have an art department. You know, we pay
Right, that's
these
it.
men to do these things.
That's true. We pay them tens of dollars.
Yeah. We didn't even have to touch nothing.
No.
We didn't have to move chairs laden with spider eggs or anything.
Right?
We did, but we got rid of all the spider eggs.
There are not spider eggs in the vacuum
We
cleaner in
kept-
the garage.
We kept one.
We had to feed
because
Malcolm somehow.
We needed to remember where we come from, so we
Yeah.
kept one.
The-
We're not going to tell you where it is.
I don't enjoy that, actually, because I don't want to introduce the extra spiders into any place that might be. Hold on a minute. Let's think about this. Pest control.
Right.
That's who you call to get rid of bugs and stuff. But there are actually people out there that do pest control the same way that Dale Gribble does pest control
It's true.
on King of the Hill. He's not at all a professional, but he's a professional.
Yeah.
I'll take care of it for you. I'm a professional.
He has every internet 2-year degree that you can get for killing bugs.
Absolutely.
And he's half read a Roundup bottle one time.
That I think that would be I think that'd be who I'd end up having to come out here. I don't know, because all the people that I know that actually work in extermination to get rid of spiders and everything else like that, there's like an introductory fee you got to pay for them to come out to your house and spray. It's like,
Yeah, you got to host a tea party for them, and
So-
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Sometimes you just want a guy to show up in a van, in a Chevy Express van that comes from the factory with an exhaust leak, roll up, open up the back of his thing and realize, wow, he also has a lawn care business on the side.
I prefer when it's more the late 90s, early 80s G10 Chevy van as opposed to the Express van.
they suck.
Well, no, because that's more what I'd be accustomed to because my dad would have hired somebody like Dale to come and spray.
So if your dad would have hired somebody like
Do the
Dale-
bunny ears when you say that.
Oh yeah. Oh man, I'm sorry. That's if your dad
Thank you. Respectfully.
had hired an exterminator, it would have ended up being somebody like Dale Gribble just to avoid those kind of fees. I mean, there's a lot of things that these dad age people that we are now getting into the age of, like dad culture in America, I think might be the same kind of thing as what they call uncle in the in the Asian area. I don't know if it's Japan or
Yeah, there's kind of like an archetype. And dads are also kind of into certain kinds of media. I know on the TikTok, oh God, I am old. I've heard people say like this is like a dad movie or like a dad show or something. And I was thinking, what are some of our dad things that we like?
Well, I'm going to preface everything else that follows from saying, Otto, I hate you in this topic that you brought because it seems like everything that I enjoy could be classified as dad something.
So-
and I'm like, so is dad nerdism everything, or am I just like uber dad nerd?
So funny enough, the idea that I kind of stole this idea. I was watching TikTok and someone said, these are dad animes. And they hit me 5 for 5 on my literally every anime they listed is in my top 5 favorite animes. But I actually have a list of some things. I was thinking like, what are some things that would qualify dad things for me? and I figure I'd read that list and let y'all kind of think about it. So things that would be like a dad anime, or a dad piece of media. It has to include action, express the bonds of brotherhood. Usually has military themes of like boats or like a central like cool military-esque vehicle.
Boats.
Boats.
Just called them out. Boats.
Boats. And then the courage of perseverance and like pushing through a hard thing. A lot of machismo.
Explain machismo.
Like the almost hyper tough, like, look at me, I'm like macho kind of thing.
Oh, so like 80s action stars.
Yes. Like the fun part's toxic masculinity.
So we're not talking about that cheese bread.
No. But it does
It's
feel
really
like
good
that.
though.
Is it really called machismo?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
oh my god, wait, there's a spread called machi. Oh my god.
I don't know if I believe him.
Is this a mispronouncing words?
His face just spasmed. I think that was a wink.
Okay.
No, I had something in my eye.
Right, okay. And then they have what it means to be a man, like a story of like what good values, a moral of like, you know, kind of being a good person. And then good guys versus bad guys, very clean cut lines. So, like one of my favorite dad animes is Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. And it has a lot of those themes of action, you know, perseverance, sacrifice.
It's actually one that I've seen and actually one that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
So
It's a great series.
Yeah.
And like that's the main theme is like I'm sacrificing for my brother and I'm persevering through this hardship to get through it. And there's militaries.
There's themes of loyalty throughout it. I mean, there's even to the point to where the alchemist decided that he was going to make sure that the dog can never leave the little girl.
Yeah.
You know, it was. I mean, that's I think that if I could pick a character to see Mustang rage on the same way he raged on Envy, would be the Doctor. I'd want to see him do that.
Shao
same.
Tucker.
Yeah.
Oh, that is such a cool scene. And that's like literally I go back and watch that scene because it has like the macho-ness of
with the Chimera.
yes.
Yeah, with Envy,
What?
what was it called? It wasn't a chimera. No,
Look, I've seen that episode and it's horrible.
Yeah, it's episode 4. They really dropped that on you early. Every time I go back and rewatch, I forget how early that episode is. Edward.
it's an icky feeling.
It is.
It's an icky feeling. But
It
there's
was
also
kind of the same feeling I got from watching Tusk.
yeah.
It was the same kind of ick at the end.
Yeah. How about at the end of Tusk where they just have to like he's just accepted being a walrus?
Yeah, he's just a walrus in this really decrepit zoo, and they're like, well, he's our friend and we love him, so we're going to take him a bucket of fish stuff.
And he's just having to eat the fish stuff because he's a walrus.
Oh, it's bad.
Oh.
It's so bad.
So yeah, Full Metal Alchemist has a lot of military themes to it as well, and that kind of stuff is always in the dad culture.
Yep.
Anything that's going to be military themed and yes sir, no sir, that typically flies really well. I mean, tons of war movies,
Band of Brothers.
Band of Brothers, Saving Private Ryan, you know those kind of movies. Hacksaw Ridge, if you're talking about like perseverance and all this stuff, please God make it good.
Oh yeah.
You know, like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man.
Oh god. that
Without
movie.
Spider-Man,
Like
or
that's one of those stories that's like it's almost crazier that actually happened than what could actually be written. If you haven't looked up the story of Hacksaw Ridge, it is oh my god, it's so good.
Well, I watched the movie. Does that count?
Yeah. No, like it's a good biopic of it.
Okay.
It's really good. Like it's an amazing story.
I was making it sure it was like it wasn't one of those, you know, the movie sucked in comparison
No.
to like the actual events that took place.
No,
or-
like the actual events were crazier. Like he was dodging bullets, running back and forth, saving guys. He was in like one of the worst battles on Japanese soil with the Americans, and didn't have a rifle, and was running back and forth, saving people up and down a ridge.
Yeah.
Oh, was he a medic or something? Mm-hmm. I've never seen it.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah,
He was a medic, and he was also, I think, a Mormon or something like that. Like he was like really, really stuck to the I'm not going to kill anybody.
So conscientious objector.
not Latter-day Saints. Seventh-day Adventist, I think, is like his Sabbath day was Saturday instead of Sunday. That was one of the things I remember. But he was one of those religions. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it's Adventist.
I can't remember either. Because he's played. The thing about Garfield is he's played a couple of them. I watched another one with him that he was a cop.
Yeah.
Also fitting within the dad description of medias. It was called Under the Banner of Heaven, where he was actually LDS, but he was a sheriff's deputy or a detective in a small town that was comprised 98% of Mormon population. And so he, had to show that a similar kind of thing.
Right.
So, religious convictions and going to, is this going to go against what I believe, and
Right.
So that's another one too. Tiny, what kind of dad material can you imagine for
The most recent dad like material that I've been
Ghost?
a part of? No, it was Kings of the Wild, that book that I recommended, because it's it's old retired heroes, so it's kind of a fresh take on the fantasy, shtick. They come back because they've had their moment in the sun. They're all just living their lives, and one of them shows up and he's like all raggedy, and he goes to the main character and he's like, "They've taken my daughter, and I've got to go. Or my daughter went over here, and there's a big thing coming to attack. I got to go rescue my daughter." And so it's the whole let's get the band back together. And they've got the dad nicknames, like the main character he's Slow Hand. So
Oh yeah, it's like a return to glory or like
Yeah.
one last ride.
yeah, it's very like one last ride, but also to save my daughter.
Oh yeah, that's a picture like dad thing because it's like I'm past my prime, but like I'm still this badass.
Yep. And it's a lighter fantasy, like there's not dragons, like they kind of throw in some fantasy stuff, but it's like I don't know if he went, I'm older and this is the kind that I like or what, but it's still very well
I have to
done,
check it out because that sounds really interesting. I prefer
Yeah.
more like light fantasy with like little magic use.
Yeah,
in a lot of mine.
There was a very small amount, but it was more like artifact type as
Okay.
opposed to like wizard type.
Yeah.
Except there's one character that's a revenant, but they can't remember that or whatever, so they always refer to him as a zombie.
Well, I have to
And
check that out.
the audiobook version that I listened to, the guy he's not like Texas Southern, but he's kind of got that kind of westerny vibe to his voice, so it just added to the ambiance of the story.
Oh yeah, because westerns are another one dads love. My dad loved John Wayne, Clint Eastwood movie like that. I'm the good guy, even though if I don't always do the good thing, kind of thing, or that like sticking to valor and sticking to your guns when you need to.
My dad always loved mobster movies.
Oh, like a Goodfellas, a Sopranos.
absolutely.
Dude,
If-
Goodfellas, classic.
If Scorsese did it, my dad watched it. Even the newest one that he had brought out, I think The Irishman is what it was called. It was
Yeah.
on Netflix. And I was like, I got to sit and I watched the whole thing with my dad. It was based on the story of Jimmy Hoffa. And it was give you an in-depth look into who Jimmy Hoffa is and why all this stuff revolved around him and what it was. And it was kind of crazy to sit and think that I don't watch television shows that much with my dad, except for the occasional blip on the radar, like that time we watched 2 seasons of Cobra Kai in one day. Just
Wow.
just sitting and watching Cobra Kai. He's like, "This is a good show."
That is yeah, no, I wouldn't pin your dad as a Cobra Kai kind of person.
Because he was like, Machio must be a vampire or something. He doesn't age. I'm like, that's a very good reference for you to make. That's actually not a good young person's reference. Good job, Dad.
Especially considering that he's a werewolf.
My dad.
Yeah, he's a werewolf
He's
trapped
still-
in mid transformation.
he probably knows him. Then like
He still ages.
They go to the same like golf club.
yeah, they're part of the same like meet or group meeting or whatever.
Yeah.
But I watched another dad movie the other day, Ford v Ferrari. Mm-hmm. It's a really good one. It's like a 2.5 hour movie, so like you got to sit in for it. But it is amazing, and it's a like biopic.
Oh yeah, well, that's what I was getting at. The Scorsese film that Dad and me watched, The Irishman. It was like almost 4 hours long.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, They
dads
typically
love a
are.
long movie.
Like if they're gonna watch a movie, it's all in.
Well, if they get the chance to kick back and knock off them, white New Balances and prop their feet up and watch a man movie, you know that they want to enjoy it, so it's going to be extra long.
Another man movie that I watched here not too long ago, I'd never seen it before, was called The World's Fastest Indian.
Oh, I've seen clips of that. I want to. That's my next day off movie.
It is so good. They have it for free on Prime.
Yep.
So I watched it and I boo-hooed a little. I didn't full blown boo-hoo, but I boohooed a little.
Oh, that's a good dad movie. Gets you a little teary.
Yeah, and I think that the you should watch The World's Fastest Indian if you like movies about good people doing good things. And I remember actually reading about him in the Guinness Book of World Records for his World's Fastest Indian. So the guy, it's based on a true story about a real guy. And dads eat that kind of stuff up. I know that my dad loves all sorts of biopics. He's probably watched Bohemian Rhapsody more than any person should.
Yeah.
Because he
I
absolutely
bet he
he
has.
loved Queen. If they ever made a Journey movie,
Or like a Kiss movie.
no, Journey would win over Kiss.
Oh, but like that's another thing. Dads love biopics, and they say the same exact thing. Well, because like real life's crazier than fantasy or anything that could be written.
Right. Well, like Netflix had, I don't know what they're called, but they were like 4-episode like series about
Mini-series?
different events. The one Waco was really good.
Wayho?
Waco.
Oh, Waco. That's another
not
crazy.
Wayo, but boom, boom, boom. Let me hear you say Wayo.
Wayo.
Yeah, not that. It's
Boom,
Waco.
boom, 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 boom. Let me say Wayo.
Waco.
Oh God, it's back! It's back! It was gone for like 7 or 8 hours today, but you brought the son of a bitch back into my brain.
Would you rather it be Red Dress?
No, not Red Dress. Guys, if you ever get a chance to just hang out with Tiny and allow him control of the television to show you all of the things you need to see,
I missed a grape sex showing. Damn it!
oh, it was awful. It was the worst thing. And this girl that he showed me the video of singing this song "Red Dress," I don't want to diss her. Because I don't want to talk about
I'm pretty
somebody.
sure it's a troll.
Is it a troll?
It has to be because
Because if
she's
it's a
got several music videos of that caliber.
Because if anybody's going to sing a half step off like an entire song, and it's just going to be okay.
Well, the best part is she changes which half step she's off. She's not just sharp or just flat. It varies.
Because that's the real emotional roller coaster of listening to the song. Is you're going through the song being disgusted, and then all of a sudden you get a sharp where a flat previously was happening, and it's still not on key, but it makes your skin crawl. Like you've got goosebumps, but also nausea. So it's not the good kind.
It's like when you're on those like 2 a.m. emergency morning ones where it's like you're goosebumps shivering and like, oh God, don't make it worse.
Yes, I don't. Tiny did a bad, and then there's this one of this really flat-toned girl who's playing some techno, some house step stuff, and it's Tiny, I was needing you to do the words. That's why I pointed at you.
Okay. I didn't know
Guys,
what we were doing.
if you don't watch the YouTube video, you should start watching our videos on YouTube just because we do release the episodes on there and you can see what's going on. Nobody listening to this on the audio is going to see the joy of Tiny dancing when I point to him as opposed to singing the song that the lyrics were about to drop. So I point to him and he just starts waving back and forth, just
Look, I
dancing
was
to me,
like,
beatboxing.
okay.
He's like, "All right, yeah, I'll bust a groove for our audio podcast."
Look, dude, when beats hit when I'm where I'm at right now, I just vibe with it, man.
People let me hear say "wayo,
Wayo,
yeah." People sing with me, people let me hear say "wayo,
wayo. I think my favorite was she's like, "Come on."
come on."
I have not seen this before. Maybe we'll have to Shanghai
Okay,
the
yeah.
TV whenever we.
yeah.
Well, I
after
mean,
pod.
we also got to Ordinary Sausage, which oddly enough I feel like would be very dad-centric humor
That is
because
it's sausage.
Yeah, it's just a guy. He's chilling in his basement because his wife kicked him out of the kitchen, and he's like, "I've got a cherry pie. Can I make that a sausage?"
Well, let's take some pork and let's take some cherry pie and some cumin, and we're going to shove it into this sausage maker. Oh, first, let me get my angle grinder and make sure I take off this safety at the top.
Yeah.
So I can shove more shit down it.
Yeah. He also did like full ears of corn minus husk, but with all the silks.
Oh my
All
God.
the silks and all of the cores, just whole core.
Oh my God.
And turned that into sausage and ate it. He didn't rank it well.
I can imagine.
He
why.
ranks everything out of 5 sausages, but he also has Will It Blow. So the last little bit in the tube from the sausage press, he has Mark Ruffalo fan art on a Honey Nut Cheerios box that he blows it out of, and then he rates that out of 5 Ruffalos.
Now,
I don't know why.
I don't know the origin of the Ruffalo. I don't ask questions like, I'm going to blow meat juice onto Mark Ruffalo's face. I'm going to rate how well it looked from 0 to 5. Whoever got this idea, him. He definitely fits his voice.
It does.
I will have to check this out now.
Yeah, it's wildly entertaining.
I just
when you feel like it shouldn't. He also made soup out of Taco Bell,
yeah. I didn't get to see that
like
one.
lettuce and all, just like in the pot, let it boil.
You know the fish gel, like the fish in
Gefilte fish.
gefilte fish, like fish in jelly inside of a jar.
Yeah.
He made sausages out of that. Yeah, I was gagging the whole time.
I think the one with the aloe vera was worse.
Oh, aloe vera pork sausage. Yeah.
This reminds me, there's a guy on TikTok that has a soda stream and he carbonates different
Oh,
things.
he is fantastic.
I
No,
love him.
His
I'm
gag
watching-
is hilarious. 'Cause he's like, yeah.
There's actually a different guy. I watch a different guy that does it. That's like 15% more redneck, or like 80% more redneck.
You're gonna have to like let me know this man's name so I can find him.
I'll have to find it, but like
'Cause
he
I'll watch
carbonated
both.
milk one time, and
Yeah.
he's carbonated like he does a lot of alcohols. He carbonated Everclear one time.
No.
Ooh, no.
Yeah,
Don't do that.
it was bad.
You could take that outside and light it on fire, and you could see it from space.
Yeah, that stuff is an additive.
I think he carbonated Jägermeister one time.
No.
Which, as a Jägermeister lover, I don't know if I would. That's a bridge too far for me. I don't want it to be slimy and spicy.
I never thought of it as slimy until you said that.
Yeah, now my top of my head hurts.
And it gives you a brain freeze and a head rush at
I
the
used to
same
drink
time.
so much Jaeger as a young man.
Oh, it's my favorite. Whenever I do drink, that is my go-to.
Well, that says a lot about you.
Oh, that
Oh, yeah.
does.
I did
I
pick
mainly cook with it.
You'll see this.
You'll get a letter from HR later. Sorry, you can't be associated with this podcast, and your main source of liquor that you're going to provide for everybody to say, hey, this man enjoys liquor sometimes is Jägermeister. That's the image you want to represent this podcast with, is fucking Jaeger bombs. Jaeger bombs.
I don't do Jaeger bombs.
Jaeger
I
bombs.
do
Jaeger bombs are good.
Okay,
I'll stand by that.
Here's what I do.
so we're Irish car bombs.
I like my
the
heart.
drink.
I like my heart to dance when it's not supposed to, just like Tiny just a few minutes ago.
Okay, so here is my go-to Jaeger drink. It is Jaeger and Dr. Pepper because it tastes just like root beer.
Okay, I could get down with
Why
that.
would you not just get a mild tasting alcohol and root beer like
Because
vodka?
Jaeger tastes so good, and I love black
But if
licorice.
you're making it taste like root beer, why wouldn't you just get
because
root
it
beer?
gives it like a more licoricey root beer taste.
I don't. I'll try it one time, but I can't promise you I'll enjoy it.
I don't care. I will.
I can give you a drink with Dr. Pepper. That's a good dad mixer, Dr. Pepper.
because every
That's
dad
good.
loves Dr.
I don't know a dad who like
Who doesn't like Dr.
Well,
Pepper.
there's 3 kinds of dads out there. There's Dr. Pepper, Coca-Cola, and that's how they say it, Coca-Cola, and Pepsi.
Well, what about Mountain Dew?
Well,
Dad?
Mountain Dew dads too,
My
but we
dad's-
don't.
My dad's a Mountain Dew dad to the point to where the doctor said stop or you'll die, and then he still won't stop. He went into renal failure twice last year. He will not stop. Sometimes he looks a little bit like a swollen tick. He will not stop. He's going to kill himself, and it's not even
Have
like
you
it's.
tried the Soda Stream version? Because they have an additive that tastes like it, but you can get it with 0 sugar.
Oh, he gets Diet Mountain Dews.
Well, that's worse.
I
Get the
know.
0.
I know he doesn't like 0 Mountain Dew. He likes Diet.
Oh god, why do dads love
What are
diet
the
drinks?
first 3 letters in diet?
Die.
Because that's what it'll do to you.
My dad enjoys the my dad enjoys the amount of formaldehyde that builds up inside of his body. It's registerable.
Does he like well done meat? Well, as two.
I don't know. I haven't had him cook me food in so
Call
long.
him.
I'm not doing
Ask
it.
him how he likes
I'm
the
not,
steak.
I'm not.
Send him a text.
Not calling my dad.
Just text him,
and
say,
letting
"Dad,
him know
what
that I'm
kind of steak do you
available for
like?"
phone conversations at this point. When I call him and I call him with some BS,
I would text him, but my phone's over
he is
there.
off. He is off the phone in seconds. He doesn't want to talk about it. He doesn't care. But if he calls me with some band stuff, I gotta have undivided attention for 15-20. So another thing that I was thinking about, like if you're going in with those hardcore movie dad stuff, you go into Rambo, an entire series that were
Oh,
just
yeah.
just
Oh, yeah.
based off of dads are going to
Anything
go and
with-
purchase them.
Anything with Sylvester Stallone in it.
The Rockies, the Rambos, the Expendables.
Yep, any of those, anything with
Schwarzenegger.
wow, I just totally blanked.
Schwarzenegger?
Yeah.
No. I don't know. Just go
Yeah,
back.
because
Wait.
every dad has a
I don't
favorite
remember.
actor.
You don't remember who?
I don't remember what I was gonna say.
Oh, you were going to add on?
Oh, okay. Racing. Okay.
Yeah.
It could be
Oh,
like
yeah.
sports related, like racing or something Blues Brothers related. Like,
Oh, yeah.
it's like mild comedy. with a
Smokey
little
and the
bit of-
Bandit.
yeah,
Yeah.
Smokey and the Bandit. Just something like,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, we're
Dude,
not really supposed to be doing this
like
thing,
something
but we're doing
I
it.
Something
bend the
involved-
rules for the good.
something
Yeah.
involving a singular fast car. That's
Dude, if Richard Petty or Dale Earnhardt was in a movie, my dad bought it. And that included the racing movie known as Six Pack. I can't even remember Kenny Rogers, I believe, was the main character.
what?
Terrible movie.
Kenny Rogers.
I think it was Kenny Rogers.
I wouldn't doubt it. I think he did a few
Look
movies.
it up. It's called Six Pack. But Richard Petty was in there, Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Gordon, and there's always that polarized.
Okay.
Days of Thunder
Came
with what's his name? Tom Cruise. His name was Cole Trickle.
Ew.
Yeah.
I don't
so
like that name.
Well, there was a real NASCAR driver
Was that
named
right?
yes. So Six Pack came out in 1982. Had Kenny Rogers as the main guy.
I don't
Brewster
know how I
Baker.
pulled that name out.
Oh, boy, I'm
Diane Lane.
Yeah,
That's
It's
Superman's
that-
mom.
It's
Yeah.
that whole from like small beginnings, because he starts as a dirt track racer, and then he picks up country like street kids, and they become his like mechanics, but they steal car parts, and he's not aware of that for a while, and then he moves on to like NASCAR, like he's just breaking into that because like he was good, but he had an accident or something, and so he's getting in there, and it's the whole let's make these kids good kids, even though they ain't my kids.
Yeah.
Well, dads love that, where it's like it's that bending the rules to do the right thing and coming up to like be a better man
Yeah.
and getting better because of it.
It's the dad version of a like not necessarily like a it's like a chick flick. with
Yeah.
the dads.
It's a dad flick.
Yeah, literally what we're talking about.
Yeah. It's a dad flick.
Yeah.
Also, back to the Days of Days of Thunder, the Tom Cruise NASCAR movie where he played Cole Trickle. You did not like that last name, Trickle. But what's even worse than that is the
Stroker Ace.
is the actual name of the NASCAR driver who was the NASCAR driver at the time, who was kind of loosely based off of. His name was Richard. He went by short. Dick Trickle.
Yeah.
I shit you not. I can probably still, to this day, if I wanted to go do another dive into the garage and all of the decaying things that my hands would touch, I could go out there into Dad's NASCAR collection and find you some Dick Trickle NASCAR memorabilia. You think I'm shitting you? I can still.
believe you.
I saw Dick Trickle race at the short track in Nashville once, and that's so funny too because as a young man. I'd have to pee in the urinals, so I got to see two different kinds of Dick Trickles. So it's like well, not just the racer and mine, but
Yeah.
also a stranger's.
Yeah,
you
because
had to
they have
pee
the
in a
trough urinals.
Yeah,
the
the
I
trough.
hate trough urinals.
Especially
They're the worst.
as a kid. My dad had, as a kid, my dad held me up so I could pee in the trough urinal next to strangers.
Now, was it one of those that was also full of ice for some reason?
no, this one didn't even have pucks in it. It just had a drain.
Oh,
God.
It smelled rancid in that bathroom.
When I was a child, my dad used to take us to the dirt track races in, I think, Crossville. And at the time, it was like, had the big trough, but they would dump buckets of ice in there. I don't know what that's
I
supposed
think
to do.
it's supposed to be like
but that really holds the smell in there.
I think,
splatter guard,
Yeah,
too.
it's a splatter guard and a smell holder in her.
Yeah, that's holder in her. It holds it in the room. It does not eliminate it.
Right.
Yeah, I can remember a couple of fond things about the race car track because there were always booths selling different things at the racetrack. Even though I was only there to see Rex. Don't make it's not. I'm not a bad person.
Yeah, no,
because
that's
You as a child.
Yeah, that's what you do.
I was a child. I knew nothing about race cars or drivers or anything. And why in the world am I going to this not so big yet still really big race car track? Like, I didn't understand why they call it a short track. This thing's huge. I was a kid. I couldn't understand. So they always had booths, and I used to beg for these things, and I never got one. And one time, my dad just said, "Shut up." Here. And it was a glow-in-the-dark alien lollipop. And it had a lollipop on the end and a glow stick on the inside of it. You cracked and then shoved inside of the tube.
hell yeah.
So when it got darker,
Nice.
whenever it started getting darker and we were sitting out there, I cracked it and put it up in the inside of the tube, and I was eating my glow-in-the-dark lollipop with the best pizza next to me that I've ever eaten in my life. As a child, this was what my brain was telling me because we didn't have these anywhere near us at the time. Little Caesars was always at the racetrack. And I was like, "Oh my God, Kane, I want to get a Little Caesars." And he's like, my dad's like, I don't want to have to get just a slice or two of pizza for it's too expensive to get. Wait a minute. They sell whole pizzas for this much? Like, yay!
Yeah.
Whole
Dude,
pizzas.
oh my God. So
My grandpa was always with us too, and he was cheaper than anybody has ever imagined. Like, you think of like how frugal Scrooge is. Like, my grandfather was worse than that. He'd walk around with his cash in his wallet most of the time because he didn't want the bank knowing he had it.
Well, see, when we would go with my dad, he would always do like the worst tailgate because he's like, I'm not paying those prices for stuff. So he would bring like a Coleman stove and like a pot and stuff, and of course his giant cooler of beer. So I remember sitting at the dirt track eating probably the best thing you could possibly eat at a dirt track, because when you're at a dirt track watching the race, what do you think you would want to eat?
Beanie
Would
weenies.
spaghetti be on the menu?
No.
That's what we usually had.
Oh, geez.
What?
That's
Yeah.
high-class tailgating.
Yeah. So you got to get that dust in there too while you ate it. So
yeah,
it's kind of
nature's
gritty.
Parmesan.
I was,
Yeah.
But
I just played music at the fair a couple of nights ago in my hometown, and they made a mistake by having a live band play at the fair the night of the rodeo.
oh God.
I sing Journey on a couple of Journey songs during our sets, and I was singing Any Way You Want It. And
Weird flex, but okay.
yeah, that is a weird flex. But thank you. See, Otto, that's how it works.
yeah, thank you.
So, and I'm getting choked on my spit as we talk, so it's going to work well for this bit. So I get to the part where, in Any Way You Want It, where she says ho whoa ho whoa whoa.
Yeah.
That part, and I take a deep breath in because I know that part's about to come, and I go, she said hi. Because I get a big, deep, chest-full inhale of the rodeo dust that's kicking up at the grandstands, getting filtered through the breezeway down to the stage where I'm playing music, and I get just a big inhale of dust. I'm gagging, and I get to the next part, and I get the notes out, and then I start playing the guitar solo, and then I about threw up by the time the song was over with, because
God.
I was having trouble catching breath. I was choking. I was coughing and hacking, and I was like flaring up in my nostrils. I was like, "What's going on?" Then I realized it's not just dust. That's doo doo, baby.
Ooh.
That's doo doo. Doo doo dust. Like
Yeah.
how are
Doo-doo dust.
like, and how are everybody is dressed up like I should have been a cowboy. Like it's like basically, it seems like Marcus, when he read our first rendition of Southern poetry, when Marcus
Ooh-wee.
shut my mouth, slap your grandma, like that kind of seemed the way that people were looking as they were walking around the fair. Because I mean, I don't think that all of these people
Have
look.
you not been to the fair in a while?
No, I had
All
a
the
good,
rednecks come out.
I had a good decade
My-
streak of not going to the
my
fair.
people
We
come
enjoy
out,
having
we-
our money.
Yeah, people
Yeah,
will take
no.
out loans. Like I can remember back whenever I worked at the old vape shop that I used to work at, our original location was right next door to a Cash Express. And I'm talking not next door as in the next building, like we shared a building with a Cash Express. Like our vape shop was roughly the size of this room that we're in right now, actually.
It's
I think.
actually right up the road from my house.
So I remember while in there that when fair season was hitting, we would get a huge influx in traffic and sales because fair season meant people were going over to Cash Express and getting way too much money. And then they're like, oh, well, there's a place right here. What's this? I think I want a vape.
Yeah, fair loans. That sounds like the worst financial decision you could
People
make.
will take out full-blown short-term loans to take their family to the fair so they can, and then they'll pay it off later. Like it's crazy the amount of money people will drop at the fair.
Yeah.
And this is again the first time I'd gone to the fair in a good 10 years. My dad and myself were both at the fair, and we were both looking forward to a fair hamburger. The hamburgers you get at the fair used to just hit different, and we went to the first place available because it was just like it's either we go and try to find the people that we know and walk around the fair, or we just go to the place that has food that's right next to us. We went to the food right next to us. We knew they had good burgers. We'd had them at their actual restaurants. We went there. We were excited for their fair version of the burger. We sit down. The lady comes up to us, hands us some menus, and she says, "Hey, boys, thank you for stopping in. We don't have any hamburgers."
You're like, what is this? A peach cobbler factory all over again?
That's what it was. And I was like, okay, well, if that's
That's
the
called a bait and switch.
if that's the
Be
case,
illegal.
if that's the case, I can still get me some good fair nachos. And I was like, that's fine. I'll just take some nachos. She said,
It's this. It's why?
and I said, okay, there's chili cheese fries. I'll take some chili cheese fries for $8 fucking.
Oh God.
Land of Frost brand French fries. You know those from the
Yeah.
school
Oh,
system.
yeah.
You'll remember those from your public school system
Somehow
days.
always burnt and mushy.
Yeah, burnt and
Yeah.
soggy. They don't.
Well, you could taste the freezer burn that was always there.
So-
There's
you
a
can
reason they're called
Land
Land
of
of
Frost.
Frost
You can
because
get
they
'em-
taste like the frost.
So you've got
Fresh out the bag.
You've
frozen.
got the Land of Frost French fries with the canned chili and the pump
They're
dispenser
probably like
cheese.
Wolf brand,
Yeah, it's like I can make this at home.
I literally
cheaper and better.
That was $8, and I asked, and I was like, okay, well, can I have something to drink that's like a zero sugar? We don't got any. We have a Diet Mountain Dew. I'm like, okay, I guess that'll be fine. I took 3 sips of my Diet Mountain Dew because I'm not a Diet Mountain Dew drinker. I took 3 sips of it. And I was like, gosh, well, at least it washed away the chili taste out of my mouth because that chili was from a can and not from love.
Yeah.
And my dad said, well, you're not going to finish that? I'm like, no, Dad, if you want the rest of my Mountain Dew, you can have it. Oh, I can have it? Like, this is mine, boy.
Oh,
Dad
yeah.
said.
By the way, I paid $16 for that can.
No, it was a bottle. It was a full bottle.
Oh, okay.
And it was
so
$3.
you paid $18.
It was $3 for the bottle. So I paid $11 for what would have cost me to make at the house $4.
Yep.
No,
That's a
less
fair-
than that. I could have got a 6-pack of those drinks for like $3. Oh man, that's crazy. But anyway, it was the fair. I got to see people. It was a time.
How many fights?
None.
Well, because I remember in school that was the thing. At fair time, people would have beef. They're like, we're going to go meet at the fair and we're going to beat the shit out of each other.
Fights don't happen first night of the fair.
Oh, you were first night.
Oh,
fair.
first night.
We were
okay.
first night fair.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
that-
you got to be at least 2-3
you
nights
got
in.
to give it some warm up time because the people that are really going to go to the fair are going to go once it's broke in, because the big night is
And
not
there's
the
people that go every single night.
there are because they have different
all
events.
night, and I do not understand that.
Like people will go. I couldn't. Okay, weird fair tangent here. Back in high school, the fair used to be kind of what you would go and do and go and see. you'd go out there and you'd try to dress real cool, and the girls try to dress real hot, and
I wouldn't know.
you didn't go, did you?
No, I went like one time.
Yeah, I went as like a
because-
kid.
Well, going to the
because mom was like, "We're poor, we're not going." I'm like, "But there's a kids' night," and she said, "I'm not paying to park,
Yep.
so we're not going."
I remember there was a big fit that was thrown in my home county because in the bylaws and the charters, and then whenever they were found in the fairgrounds, they said that the parking and the access to the fair should be free. You should be able to get into the fair for free. So you guys charging money to get into this fair is against what the bylaws say of the Fair Foundation. So that was a big. But nowadays you got to pay $5 to get in. You got to pay $2-3 to park. Sometimes $5 to park. You got $10 spent before you walk in the
Yeah,
door.
that's
Right.
just to get in. It's not even a door.
Get in the
it's a
gate.
gate.
Yeah, and then you had to buy tickets to get on rides.
And you know what's funny too? I kind
Or
of
armbands.
like our fair is so weird about certain stuff in my hometown because like
We got a day off of school for it.
I have a band with 5 members that they are paying us to be there and play music, and they booked us on the night of the rodeo, where everybody that's there cares about country music and cattle.
And you're playing
And I'm
rock.
playing classic rock. So we had about 30 people watching us of the fairgoers.
Right.
And that's not, it's not their fault. They might not have had the forethought of like, this isn't going to fit here, da-da-da-da. But it's, the fair, they've got 5 band members. They said 2 of us could park in the fair.
What?
What the? Dad was like, Dad said, Dad told him, just like, hey, we've got 5 members. We're probably going to have about 4 or 5 cars. And they said, ooh.
What?
Then she said-
It's like why would they not consider that?
I don't know. Probably because they had to make as much room as they can for all the horse trailers.
Right.
And that was creepy as hell, too, guys. And I can't wait for Jessica to hear this because she was a horse girl. I'd mentioned that previously.
On last episode.
But
Did you get almost in the hand-to-horse style combat?
no, I didn't. But
Dang.
I will tell you what I did do. I did get sketched out by the horses in the dark, strapped to their trailers,
Dude,
just
they're
standing
scary.
around.
Horses are scary.
Because
huge.
because I was just walking around, trying to find our path that we were going to take the car to leave because we had got everything loaded up. I was trying to do and I'm just walking around this dark corner because there's no lights over here in this side of the park. Huh? Oh, and there's just
Right.
this huge creature, and I'm like, oh, it's horse night. It's fine. Horse in the dark, scary. And I take a little bit of a different detour from that direction.
Right.
Another horse, another trailer in the dark, just waiting for me to come around.
It's because it's like human caveman. It's that caveman part of your brain where it's like, it's nighttime. I'm vulnerable.
Big animal dark.
It's bigger than me. It's bigger than me. Panic.
Honestly, if you're just being surprised by a horse, it gives you the same feeling. So you know what I was feeling when I turned around and saw a horse, but you had a barrier.
Yeah.
I had no barrier.
Yeah. What do you mean had a barrier? No, they weren't in it. They
It
weren't
wasn't in the trailer,
No,
just beside the
It
trailer?
was beside the trailer. Just,
okay.
Just adhered by a thin strap because that's how horses be. If they feel that resistance, they're not going to try to pull more.
Well, I mean, at least they were like tethered. You could outrun the tether.
I could.
Yeah, but you'd run into another horse.
I got almost attacked by a free range feral horse.
Well,
A
I mean,
wild
the,
horse.
The feral wild horse is one thing, but the maze of horses that I stumbled into was not what I had on my bingo
it's,
card.
True.
it's 2 different kinds of horror. So
Yeah.
yours was like beast horror, and yours was like thriller horror.
Yeah, it's like
You get
which
trapped
way
in a
will he turn
jigsaw
next?
game.
Will there be another horse?
it's like a maze of horses.
A maze of horses. That's the name of my metal band. We are Maze of Horses.
with our patented metal horse scream.
Our drummer's name is Hooves.
Why do I think that would kind of sound cool?
We are Maze of Horses.
They all have like mohawks, like long flung mane mohawks. Dude, where's our Maze of Horses? I need a Maze of Horses right now.
Maze of
Internet,
horses.
y'all.
We gotta find me Maze of Horses.
You
that
internet.
is on the other side of currently my phone, soon to be y'all's computers and phones. Figure it out.
Canonize it. Canonize Maze
Figure
of
it out.
Horses.
Maze of Horses for metal band.
Yeah, y'all need get your shit together. Watching.
So we were talking about dad stuff.
Well,
right?
yeah, but Dad, this is kind of like a conversation with my dad because we go on sidebars, and at least now we haven't ended up in a conversation about a bar on the Brass Ass Saloon circuit in 1984. Gosh, one of these days I'll get my dad on the podcast. Honestly, if he cared about the podcast, he probably would have already been on it. But I haven't
he would be calling you to be on it.
Literally, if you guys could just be around one time and my dad's there, and us all just try to talk to him about the podcast, you've never seen a man who's sober, his eyes glaze and drift quicker.
Well, that's because as an older dad, he don't know what the hell a podcast is.
A dad,
He does know what a podcast is. It's a radio show. I've explained it to him. I was like, this is basically a weekly release radio show like your Bob and Tom's you used to listen to.
Did he have dead eyes when you were telling him?
He always does when it doesn't have to do with something he wants to talk about.
See, there you go.
See, dads.
So he still doesn't know.
At a certain age, dads stop learning new things.
They do.
They just cease.
They get to be like old dogs.
You know, my dad actually. We're talking about dad stuff. Let's just trash my dad for a minute.
Okay.
Not really a trash bash my dad. It's just one of those things. I was talking about the podcast with him, and I was talking with my mom about sports and about how I'm not really into sports ball because dad wasn't around really for me to learn sports ball from because he was too busy doing that
show
himself.
you how to put a cup on.
And I told them about that, and I was like, "You guys let me wear my cup backwards," and my dad's like, "Wait, what?" Hold on, this is the first time he's heard about this. I'm 35 fucking years old. This is the first time my dad knew that when I was in T-ball and minor league. No, it was minor league that you had to start wearing the cups. That I was in minor league, and I had not. First off, the first thing that I brought was an actual cup because they said I was supposed to bring a cup. So I brought me one of those Uncle Si cups before Uncle Si was famous for having them. Like I brought my tea glass cup.
The Walmart plastic cup.
Just a Walmart plastic cup. So I was like, okay, you guys want me to bring a cup? I brought a cup. What's it for? Is it for all sport?
Is this for the Gatorade after?
This is for all sport.
No. It was the pre-squincher.
Oh, okay.
So no, you're supposed to get this. We'll talk to your parents. So so then we got I got a jock strap and I got a cup, but no instructions. And then my dad was like, "There's no way." There's no way that you would wear that backwards.
Did you show him the scars?
I was like, Dad, did you guys not ever wonder? Because he saw me play a couple games with it that way. Like, did you not ever wonder why I couldn't? Did you not?
So that was a multi-game situation.
Yeah, it wasn't a one.
I thought it was just a one and done.
No.
That's even worse.
No.
I always thought it was a one and done.
No. It was a multiple games.
No one know?
Because I would take the cup out as soon as the game.
Your package area had to look bizarre. How did nobody notice?
Dude, have you ever seen a snail go inside of its shell?
Yeah, but
It's very similar without the
basically
antennas.
have a hand there though in your shorts.
But no, so what it would do is as soon as the game was over with, like I would shake hands with everybody and then immediately remove my cup. I thought that no wonder these out, like, because you always see like baseball players and stuff, like they would tug at their cups. Like I thought, like, oh, no wonder, like this shit's like all mashed potatoes down here. Like no wonder they're always messing with it. And that's what I said to him. Like I said to him, didn't you notice that I was always having to like screw around down there with my cup and keep things situated? He said, but yeah, you used to keep your hand in your pants all the time, like it was a worry stone. I was like, that's not in the middle of a baseball game. That's just while I'm watching X-Men.
That storm just does things to me.
But yeah, he said so. The first time it was recently. The first time he ever heard about that, and he was like, "Wait a minute, what?" And I told him, I said, "Well, I just thought that because I've played with these games and the stuff with the ball and the cup and the scoop and you throw." He's like, "No, you weren't thinking that. You didn't think that." I was like, "Yeah, it scoops it out and projects it out." And he just covers his face and just hangs his head. And I'm like, "Well, it's not like you were there to make a difference about it." And my mom turns to him. She said, "See, I told you he'd remember you weren't around."
Oh my god!
So I mean, so let's real quick on these dad things. Let's see if we're basing it off of my dad. It's Scorsese movies, sports biopics. You're gonna have same thing with like anything that's sports related that they've released, like some kind of memoir or written history of or something of themselves. He's read Michael Jordan's book. He's read a whole bunch of stuff. I think he's read Juiced. Or the Juice. That's
OJ's?
No. Jose Canseco. About threw up. Jose Canseco's book.
You invoked the name and it came out of you.
Well, no. One time I was Jose Canseco and Tiny was Mark McGuire.
I know that the spirit was trying to take back over.
And if you ever get on the Patreon, that's sometimes our episodes are a little bit more structured, a little bit less scattered. But this has been a fun adventure. On Patreon, we have some different things that are available on there. One of those things on there is actually Homers to Hell, which was a podcast production that we all did together. That was a little bit of a play-by-play of stuff. Get on there. You can donate $5 to the cause. Get a shiny holographic Nerd Through the Grapevine sticker if you're a new member. I've got more of those. I found some.
Oh, yeah. I saw those on the table.
Yep. I've got some more of those. And if you get into the $10 Patreon tier, you get access to some videos and some extra stuff that we put on there just for the $10 tier. So thank you very much for joining on those. We'd actually gotten the first vlog posted today from our trip to Murfreesboro that we took with the Patreon van. So that was a fun time, and I think that van would be dad approved.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, dads love a good utility vehicle.
Like there would definitely be the dad joke of, "Well, this van's really hauling some ass."
Yeah,
it's like there's 6 of us in here. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Well, I mean, you were giving us the dad eyes from
so much.
I didn't really even notice how bad my eyes were doing that until I watched the vlog, and I'm like, God, how mad am I?
Yeah,
Just wait. You ain't even seen the most.
Because
of it yet.
That was me on interstate driving. That wasn't me having to navigate Murfreesboro traffic driving.
There's more. There's some in all 3 episodes.
Did you get some at the end when we had to like double back?
Oh
twice?
yeah, dude. I was zooming into his eyes and stuff.
Oh, because after we left, the fake factory really put a stint on a mood on the end of that trip.
The energy that we had just got sucked out of us. Like it was like somebody threw us a birthday party and set it on fire.
We had to fight to get over there because the road was under construction. It wasn't on the map.
Oh, it was awful. Like we went through a journey just to get there, and then Mom didn't show up with a wedding dress. Like it was just
God. I don't know if it was that disappointing.
Well,
I didn't feel like punching a tree at the factory.
It was for me.
I about punched an oak tree.
It was really upsetting for me.
Yeah,
but I couldn't share that same kind of upset that you had.
Right. But I don't know. I kind of like the whole like dad thing. I know like it's kind of played as a joke, but I think a lot of the times it also just comes down to like a nice kind of style.
Yeah, like sometimes they can just be just straight up wholesome.
Right.
Like those stupid racing movies that I still own on VHS, even though I have no way to watch them, were legitimately good movies.
Yeah.
My dad was the NASCAR guy, so
I mean, because like Goodfellas is a great movie. But it's a dad movie, but it's still like it's a good one.
All the movies in my household when my father was alive had something to do with cars or John Belushi. Wait, was he the one that passed away, or was that Jim?
No, Jim Belushi was the living one that was less talented.
Oh yeah, John. So yeah, we had Blues Brothers, various forms of racing movies. And like my dad was the kind that he would call the radio station when they're having those calling contests, like be the 6th caller. He won so many of those, and sometimes I had to make him do like weird little things to drive a little NASCAR for NASCAR tickets. He did that.
Oh, that's cool.
And he actually got tickets to a meet and greet style dinner with Dale Earnhardt.
What? Did he meet the Intimidator?
Yeah. There's even a picture of me shaking his hand of my little kid self.
Wait,
and I've got like a signed hat.
You've got a picture
met
of
the Intimidator?
You've got a picture of yourself shaking Dale Earnhardt's hand?
Yeah.
Why is it not up in the grape sack?
I have to find it. It's in one of my special boxes of memories.
That needs to go in here.
I didn't know you met the king.
We can put a picture.
I've
The
even
Intimidator.
got my child-sized cowboy hat with his signature on it.
We could put the picture of that next to the picture of me shaking the Red Ranger's hand.
I mean, I've got like 6 versions of this man's autograph.
Oh my gosh,
But,
dude, that
yeah,
is.
I've even got pictures from where for vacation, we went to where his garage was and got to tour the whole place and see his car collections. And the man's got a bunch of race cars and other cars because he also had like the car that Neil Bonnet crashed and died in was there, the Country Time Lemonade car that was there. And then Dad, because his garage where his stuff is, was in a different place than where his house was. So Dad somehow, with 90s magic, learned where Dale Earnhardt lived. And so we did that slow drive-by at his house because he's like, boy, that's where he lives, is where the man lives. And I'm like, how do you know, Dad? And he's like, look down yonder through the chain link at the garage in the backyard. You see that trailer? That's called a car hauler. And what's painted on the side of it? Well, a number 3 race car, Dad. We're in the same town where he lives. Who else would have that?
Nobody.
Yeah.
No,
I
only the
still
man
don't know
himself.
how he found that out, that information in the 90s.
I mean, sometimes dads had 90s magic. Like, I
Well-
can remember driving through I was going through Manchester one time with Dad. I wasn't driving. I was riding. I was a kid. And we drove past this big horse farm that was in Manchester and had like these fences that were going on. And we get towards an area to where you can hit the microphone stand, to where you can drive past this. The fence area is all kind of scoop in and all angle in to where here's the driveway and stuff to it. And you look down this huge driveway to this old, like, derby style barn. You know what I'm talking about. It has like
Yeah.
the steeples and stuff going on. And then the house is behind it on the property. And it's this huge mansion. He's like, that's where Reba McEntire lives. I'm like, why do you randomly know where Reba McEntire lives?
because
So
Dad-
your dad also says things like, Bruce Willis' daughter is singing. Yeah, she's from Lebanon, Tennessee. So,
I
in all
understand.
fairness, that could have been your dad just blowing smoke up your ass.
I understand that, but later on, when the drummer for Reba McEntire was in the band and we played in Manchester for a show, we drove past that same place. He said, you see Reba's place whenever we walked in? And our drummer said, oh, actually, she sold that a few years ago. So my brain got confirmation that my dad wasn't just, that was filmed down at Rock Island.
Gotcha.
Anytime my dad sees a waterfall in a movie, he tells you right then and there, that was filmed down at Rock Island. That's down in the Twin Falls.
No, that was just the Jungle Book.
Right. Well, because like your dad always knows a guy and knows 1 or 2 weird facts.
Yeah, and I don't understand. He's such an oddball character. I mean, I can kind of understand where I get my genetics from because I'm kind of a similar character. But man, it's odd, because my dad's not like your dad. Your dad is more like the I'm not going to talk to you, I'm getting out of here kind of vibe.
Right. My dad's I'm going to do it on my own kind of thing.
And
I'm going to figure it out on my
My
own.
dad is more like. Has anybody watched What We Do in the Shadows?
No.
No.
There's a vampire on there named I think his name's Colin.
Wait, is that the Johnny Depp one?
No, that's
No.
that's Dark Shadows. No, he's
It's on Hulu, isn't it?
Yes, and I think his
it's on-
name
it's
is.
on my watch
I think
list.
his name is Colin Robinson, and Colin Robinson is a vampire, but he doesn't have the fangs and the blood suck your blood.
Right.
He's an emotional vampire.
Oh, yeah.
So he just feeds off of your energy. So that's
That's just how some people are.
my dad is if he's getting some good attention and he's getting some chuckles and some laughter, we are the same kind of creature. We're gonna try to milk it. Except my cutoff is quicker than his cutoff because I've trained.
Yep.
Yep.
Because being an ADHD, you don't realize whenever you're becoming more. You don't realize when you're overexcited in front of people that you're carrying on, and more so than you should.
You have to remember to pump the brakes on yourself.
the brakes, boy.
I've done that multiple times. Actually, I tap into that, and that's how we do our sound checks. Is I just start talking about something and just kind of let my mind like run loose.
Yeah,
And I've done that to people before.
Yeah, and if I forget to tell him to stop, he won't.
Yeah, no.
True.
He one time went for 20 minutes, and he was just
Yeah, we were busy trying to make something work.
You told me to.
technical-wise.
You told me to start talking so you can make sure the levels are working.
and it become brown noise
Yeah, it
in the
was-
background.
It was just like this. it was Charlie Brown just fucking like dull roar in the background.
Yeah, it's like
And the best part was when you finally said, "Otto, you can stop now," and he goes, "Thank you. That felt really nice to get that out."
Sometimes, listen, the only person that I can kind of do that to is my lovely, lovely patient wife, Heidi. She knows that sometimes I just need to talk about something for 30 minutes straight, but I can't do that to anyone else, and I can only talk about Gundam so many times to her.
I think that if there's anything that me and my father can share as far as our like of movies, it is probably going to be watching the rock and roll movies and watching the old stories come to life on screen.
So I bet your dad likes the Mark Wahlberg rock star movie.
He knows about 3 of the songs by heart.
I mean, it's a good movie.
Has he
in
tried
all
to get you
fairness.
to put one into the set yet?
No, because it's actually done by a band called Steelheart, and Steelheart has an impossible range, and I am not going to attempt it. Look up a song. If anybody ever wants to hear the highest possible male range that I can ever think of, listen to Steelheart, I'll Never Let You Go. Unlike this podcast, which has come to a completion now.
That causes me some discord. There's a link in the description. Click it. Go over there. Do all the things. You know the things. Do them. You know how we are.
We're on there live, uncut, uncensored, and
Irrevocably
irrevocably
circumcised.
Everybody, I hope you have a good rest of your week. Thank you for listening to us. We'll be back from the new Grape Sack same time next week.